Let me in. Who do you send in to kill the boogeyman? How about John Wick? And today we're taking a look at Diamond Select's John Wick Chapter 2 action figure. Stick around. Hey, this is Matthew, and welcome back to Nerd News Today. And it's time for another action figure review. This one is another figure that I think people have been kind of ignoring, kind of bypassing, and may just not even be entirely aware of it. And that is this piece here from Diamond Select. This is the John Wick Tactical John Wick figure, based on his appearance from John Wick Chapter 2. Now, a little while ago, we looked at the first John Wick figure based on the first movie from Diamond, and I had a lot of big praise for that. I called it one of the most underrated figures of the year, and one that's just flying under so many people's radar. So I had to get the Tactical John Wick from John Wick Chapter 2 because I wanted to see if basically it was just as good as the first one. And based on what I'm seeing just from inside the packaging, I think we're gonna have a pretty strong contender here for another great John Wick figure, maybe even better than the first. But I don't wanna get myself too hyped up. Let's talk about this packaging first before we take them out. And you can see it's the enormous diamond packages because they're all huge, they're always enormous, they're always so oversized. You know, I still don't know how I feel about them being this big. I feel like they could easily be smaller. And even if they wanted to keep this window the same size, I mean, there's so much empty space in the back here. So, you know, I don't know. I wish kind of Diamond would address that maybe. Just make these things a little bit smaller. They'd fit on store shelves a little bit easier too. That's just a personal nitpick, but luckily I'm not a Mint on Card collector, so it doesn't bother me too much. On the side, we've got a picture of the hand-painted prototype of the figure, which has got a pretty good Keanu Reeves likeness. That's something I liked a lot about the first figure too, so I'm hoping that likeness is just as good when we take this figure out of the package. And the back of the box here, just once again has our John Wick logo. Instead of a bio about who John Wick is, it's more just kind of saying what the John Wick series is all about, what the movies are sort of about in one sentence, and just kind of selling you the idea of the film. I kind of would have rather have had a simple 1 or 2 sentence bio about the John Wick character to go with that. But on the other hand, you know, folks who know John Wick, they're gonna know who John Wick is. End of story. You don't really need much about him. So it's not a major loss, but there is a lot of dead space in this packaging, so why not fill it with some more text? It reminds us that this is in fact based on John Wick Chapter 2. It tells us we've got 25 points of articulation. We get a quick look at some of the accessories we're gonna be seeing, which I'm really excited about. And it also lets us know that this statue was designed by Yuri Taming and sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. We've seen Yuri Taming's work in a few other pieces before, including his Bruce Lee ones, and he's pretty great at making some likenesses, so I'm very excited for this John Wick figure. I really don't want to waste any more time. I need to get him out of the box, so let's go ahead and do that and unleash John Wick and see how he holds up. And just so you guys can see before I completely take him out of the box, I wanted to show you how he looks once you remove him from the initial packaging. And this John Wick has got a lot of twisty ties on him. I hate twisty ties, and there are so many on this piece. I don't know why he's got so many. He's got one on each shoulder, he's got one on a leg, he's got one on each foot. His dog has one, the tactical gun belt has 2, the machine gun has got 2, and even the fist has one. Oh, and I think that pistol down there, in fact, also has one right underneath his gun case. So that's a lot of twisty ties. I think that's more than we even got with like the real Ghostbusters figures. I hate twisty ties, so I just want you guys to be aware of them and just get a glimpse of what you're gonna have to deal with when you do take them out of the package. So I'm gonna go take out my frustration with the scissors and just get them out of there as quick as I can. So stay tuned. And our John Wick Chapter 2 figure is now out of the box. Let's take a look at him. And first things first, we have to talk about that face. You know, I'm not entirely sure if the head sculpt is actually different from the first figure or not. I'm gonna put up a comparison photo from the first figure review. I don't have the figure in person with me to do that with. But aside from whether or not it's a new head sculpt, there's no denying that it's still an amazing likeness. Like, they completely captured Keanu Reeves' face from every possible angle. The main difference between the two heads from the first figure we looked at versus this one is that that figure was more battle damage. He had some cuts on his face. This one is him much more clean, which I actually talked about in that first review. I remarked how there was another Wick figure out there that had the clean face. This is that piece. Yeah, that likeness is just stunning. It's totally Keanu Reeves. It is absolutely, for my money, one of the best likenesses they've ever done in an action figure, if not the best. And Keanu's face, in my opinion, is actually kind of a harder one to sculpt because he's got a pretty smooth face. There's not really a ton of things that make him easy to sculpt, to be honest. He's got one of those faces that should be a lot harder to do, but this one is just perfect. Like, they nailed this one. No complaints from me at all. Everything about it is great. And on top of that, you talk about the paint job, which is very clean, and the paint job is perfect too. The eyebrows, the eyeballs themselves, the pupils, some really great detail in there, by the way. The mustache, the sideburns, the hair color, everything about it. This is it. This is perfect. They got it. It's a really glorious piece here. I can't get over how good the head looks on these John Wick pieces. And if you don't believe me about this being one of the better head sculpts based on an actual likeness, go ahead and check out our video about the Batman Returns Catwoman statue. Check out our Rocketeer action figure review. Take a look at even any of our Diamond Select Avengers movie statue reviews, which those had for the most part some pretty good likenesses. Some were better than others, but there are some good ones. I will still stand by and say that this John Wick figure and all the John Wick figures I've seen so far have better head sculpts than anything else they've done. So big kudos to Yuri Taming and Gentle Giant Studios for totally nailing this one. So let's talk about the body now. How does the body hold up? Well, it has an alleged 25 points of articulation. Let's see how that all works out with everything here. So the head is ball jointed and moves left to right. It's got a little bit of resistance though there. Something's a little funky with that head that's making it rubber band. I'm not going to do too much with it because I'm afraid of it. It might just mean that I need to dunk it in some hot water to kind of loosen up that joint a little bit. The ball jointed shoulders can rotate, go up and down. We've got bicep swivel. We have double jointed elbows. What does that mean? Well, that means he could hold his guns pretty darn realistically. He could hold his guns a lot closer to his body and actually aim them better than most other figures do. We have wrist joints that can move fairly stiff out the box. We do have some torso articulation, but unfortunately because of this suit jacket here, you can see here, it doesn't really move that well. Let's see, it's starting to go a little bit, but definitely feels like it's fighting. We do have a waist that also should turn, but I think that's also in there pretty firmly. Luckily, the legs are amazing. Because this is a diamond figure, you can get some pretty good flexibility in there. We've got a thigh swivel. We have a double jointed knee as well. And the ankles are on this nice ball joint. There's also a joint up there. So legs are very good in terms of articulation. Upper body might not be as great. And by the way, you guys just saw me pop onto a base there. So that base does not come with the John Wick figure. That is actually one of their Diamond Select figure base stands. You can get that from Diamond's website or from Amazon. I totally recommend these for your Diamond figures. And they fit many other types of figures too, so they're very handy to have. So there might be some hindered articulation here. I don't think it's gonna be a big problem when it comes to posing and for figure photography though. And on that note, I also have to add that I really love the outfit once again. I love the different tones of black that we have in it. Because you can see, the shoes are this kind of shiny color. The black in his tie is a little bit different than the black in the rest of the outfit. There's a lot of shades of black. You've heard the term 50 shades of gray. This is more like 50 shades of black, and it totally works. And here's a good look at it from the other side as well too. And again, more great job on that sculpting because we've really got these lifelike folds on his suit jacket, on his pants, on his sleeves. There's a lot of subtle things to the sculpting of this piece that just really make it stand out and look excellent. The one downside I'm seeing though is the paint job on his hands and on his neck. I don't know what's going on here. He's got like liver spots all over his hands. There's a lot of like reddish pigment on them and that's not so great. But that might be a QC issue that you have to just take a look at when you get your figures. I don't know if it's going to be universal or not to every single John Wick Chapter 2 figure, but if you're able to buy them in person, do that and compare. It's always good to do that when you can, and especially because that means you're probably in your local comic book store supporting them and they need the business right now more than ever. But overall, a lot of good positives here. But John Wick is nothing without his arsenal and his many accessories. So let's go ahead and take a look at all those things that he comes with, starting with his doggo. This is the dog, spoiler alert, that he rescues at the end of John Wick Chapter 1 and has continued to be with him in John Wick Chapter 2 and 3. Doesn't have a name yet, but it's a good looking doggo, good companion for John Wick. I like all the dogs in the movie so far. And it's another good looking piece. I don't know if I like the face as much as the dog from the first toy though, but it is good that he's got the dog and that makes me happy. So I like it. Not a perfect 10, but a solid companion for a solid John Wick. And before I take a look at his guns as well, because there's plenty of those, I want to show you guys this. This is the marker. We got one of these medallions with the first figure, but this one is really a step above that. I mean, aside from the design being great looking, we have the engraved quotation down there, back of it as well, very nice looking. This is a great piece. I love the fact that I can actually hold it in my hand and, I feel like I'm actually part of the movie. But it looks like this might actually open up. Let's see how this works. So I just tried to open this guy up and it's not really budging. In fact, I actually almost chipped some paint off of that side here. So I'm gonna try and do this off camera, do this a little later, loosen up, and if it worked, I'll cut in a picture here of what's going on. I'm hoping that does open up, but even if it doesn't, still really gorgeous piece. I love that they're including these like full-size medallions for collectors. That's very cool. Speaking of medallions, that's going to lead me to my other non-gun accessory here. He's got a pile of medallions here. You've actually got a few different versions of the medallions. You've got a single one right here, and then you've got kind of a handful of them there. So that's the first time we've gotten actual medallions that the John Wick figure can use. And that is a very good accessory. They're very tiny though, so be careful about those. And speaking of medallions, we do have a separate hand that actually has a medallion in the hand. so you could actually have him give it to someone else, put that in this hand here. That is a great accessory. I'm loving that they've put so much more attention and emphasis on the medallions this time around. And I feel like that's also because in the second movie, we see more of their value. In the first movie, we kind of got a taste of what they did, but John Wick Chapter 2, I feel like they're a little bit more critical to what goes on in that film, and especially by the time we get to Chapter 3. So let's talk about the armory that this tactical John Wick figure comes with, starting with this gun belt over here. Now, when I first saw this accessory in the package, I was actually kind of underwhelmed by it and not that interested in it. Then I realized something about this piece that makes it very, very cool. Every single thing you see here is removable. Every single magazine of ammunition comes out. Some are more stiff than others in there, but they all do come out. And all of these guns come out. That was totally not expected. Now, the unfortunate problem with this gun belt is that it doesn't easily fit around him. And it is supposed to close as well. That is not necessarily working out the best either. I think we almost got it there. It kind of just keeps slipping out. This is, again, going to be an issue you'll have to deal with on your own. But basically, you can kind of see how this looks when it's actually closed up. It doesn't really wrap around him with that suit jacket on. So unfortunately, it's a little tough for him to wear this one. I think this might be better off saved for a different John Wick figure. He also comes with over here this really awesome looking machine gun, which I'm going to see if it fits in his hand right now. We've actually got the hand on. It's perfect for it because that's the hand with the trigger finger. There we go. That's in there. Here's how it looks, just like this. And now we're going to see if this actual double joint articulation thing works. And there we go. Yeah, he's actually holding the weapon. That looks really nice now that he's actually holding the gun in his hands. And that's what I mean about the power of those double jointed elbows, because you can get him to actually hold the gun in a little bit more realistic ways. John also has another handgun over here. I think that's a Glock, but I have no idea. I don't know my guns. And finally, we've got this wooden case here, which is another very, very cool piece, because it actually does, in fact, open up and reveals, maybe that's a Desert Eagle in there. I don't know what the heck that is, but it reveals another one of his guns, along with 2 clips of ammunition. And yes, all of that is, in fact, removable. So great detail. I love this piece. And you can see here now we've got everything together. I mean, this is a pretty big arsenal. And if you bought that John Wick figure from the first film as well, you're building up a pretty crazy armory for your John Wick figures. And they all fit with the other characters that Diamond makes too. So you got yourself now a real ton of weaponry to play with. Now I've saved what I think is the best accessory for last. I'm gonna take this gun off, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and swap one of his hands out, in fact, because what we're gonna talk about now is another hand that John Wick comes with. And that is this, the greatest accessory of all time. It's a pencil. It's the John Wick hand holding a pencil, because he's killed 5 men with a pencil. And in John Wick Chapter 2, you actually finally get to see him kill some guys with a pencil. And that's amazing. I was just watching the movie again recently, and I didn't really know about what this figure came with. I knew it came with the dog. I knew it had a bunch of guns, but I didn't really know anything beyond that. And I was thinking to myself, man, it would be the coolest thing ever if they actually gave us a John Wick figure that came with a pencil accessory, but it's so tiny you're gonna lose it. Well, Diamond had us covered all along, because they made it sculpted as part of this hand. So yeah, you can actually use that pencil. It's not gonna get lost. It's like one of the best accessories ever. I cannot get over how good that is. They solved the problem. I love it. It's amazing. It's beautiful. If you can call someone killing a person with a pencil beautiful. But it is. It's a great accessory, and it makes for another amazing figure. So at the end of the day, this is another knockout John Wick figure. I can't believe that they actually topped themselves even, almost. I mean, there's some things I kind of like better about the first figure, which I think would mostly be the posability. But I also really like the fact that here we now have a clean head sculpt with no blood on it. The suit is very nice. It just does cut down a little bit on his articulation. And while the John Wick Chapter 1 had a lot more bigger guns, this version here kind of is more close quarters combat. We've got a lot more pistols, we've got the gun belt, we have a lot more clips of ammunition. We have the medallion hands, which I think are really cool, on top of the fact that he has piles of medallions that he can use and hold. And of course, we also have the giant medallion here, which I love this. I hope that these are in all of the John Wick figures. This is such a cool accessory here. We've got the wooden case with the guns. We've got the doggo. There's nothing not to love about these John Wick figures. And really, I can't stress this enough. If you're not buying these figures, you're really missing out. And I feel like no one's talking about these John Wick figures, and they're so good. Like, even with some of the articulation issues I'm having with this figure, I still think it's great. I think it serves a purpose. I feel like at this point, the John Wick 1 is more of like my action photography pose, whereas this is gonna be kind of more different, more stealthy poses. But I'm still building up some really cool stuff with all these figures, and you're building a whole John Wick universe as well. So yeah, really, I cannot, so really I have to continue to strongly recommend all of the John Wick figures, and yes, even this tactical John Wick 2. Even though the articulation is a little bit hindered, even though this gun belt doesn't really seem to easily go around his waist, and even though, at least as of now, I still have no idea how to open this medallion, I think it's still another top-notch John Wick figure. And I think it is a total must-have. Don't ignore this figure, don't pass this figure up, scoop it up today wherever you can find it. Because if you don't, the Baba Yaga will come for you. So that's our look at the Diamond Select Tactical John Wick action figure from John Wick Chapter 2. If you want to get this figure for yourself, check out your local comic book store to see if they have it, or visit Diamond Select's website to order it from them. Or if you'd like to help support our channel here, use our Amazon affiliate links in the description below. If you order from Amazon using our links, it helps support this YouTube channel, it helps us continue to make more videos about toys and everything else that we do here on the channel. So until next time, I'm Matthew, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see all the other content that we're constantly working on here. And once again, get this John Wick figure. You will not regret it. It's going to be one of the best toy purchases you could have made this year from a fantastic lineup that I think still has, in fact, 2 more figures. And hopefully we're going to get our hands on those as well. So stick around here for more videos, more toy reviews, and probably more John Wick. I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.